Good afternoon, everybody. Today we are going to be going over just the importance of neighborliness for this faith-based organization. So that is what this presentation is going to be on. My name is Ariana Payton, and I'm super excited to just dive into the topic of neighborliness across dividing lines and what we're going to do about it. Hello and welcome everyone. Today we are going to dive into a topic that is the heart of our faith and community, that being neighborliness. As members of this faith-based organization, we are called not only to love our neighbors, but to truly live out neighborliness in our everyday lives. Neighborliness isn't just about being friendly, it isn't about just saying hello to our neighbors and those who live next door. It's actually about actively seeking friendships across dividing lines, embracing diversity, and cultivating a sense of acceptance for everyone in our community. What this means is going out of our way to interact with people that have different cultures, going out of our way to make friends with people with different ethnic backgrounds or a different way of doing things. It's about recognizing the worth and dignity of each individual, regardless of their background, beliefs, or circumstances. Now, you might be wondering why neighborliness is so important, especially within the context of our faith. Well, let's take a moment to reflect on some core teachings in the Bible. Yes, the Bible. Jesus tells us to love our neighbors as ourselves. He doesn't place any conditions on who our neighbors are or where they come from. It could be our greatest enemy or the person that is most unlike us. Instead, he challenges us to give our love and compassion to all, even those who may seem different or unfamiliar to us. As members of this faith-based organization, we are called to be ambassadors of love and reconciliation in our communities. We are called to build bridges instead of walls, to seek understanding instead of judgment, and to cultivate relationships based on mutual respect and empathy. Something I think that is so important to note here is that it takes a lot of social awareness to be able to recognize not every person is going to put this burden on themselves to be the bridge to help build that gap. And so it's our job to recognize these areas where we have fallen short and really just be a voice for the minorities in our city, state, and region. And this just brings to mind a verse that is just so vital to our faith, and it's 1 Corinthians chapter 13. If I speak in the tongues of men and of angels, but have not love, I am only a resounding gong or a clanging cymbal. If I have the gift of prophecy and can fathom all mysteries and all knowledge, and if I have a faith that can move mountains but have not love, I am nothing. If I give all I possess to the poor and surrender my body to the flames but have not love, I gain nothing. Love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy, it doesn't boast, it's not proud. Love is not rude, it is not self-seeking, it is not easily angered, it keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Love never fails. But where there are prophecies, they will cease. Where there are tongues, they will be stilled. Where there is knowledge, it will pass away. And so, this is a verse that I just think is so important to just adopt onto this organization, to just remember that if we don't have love, we have nothing. And the beautiful thing about love is it opens the door for relationships, for that mutual respect and that empathy. And so let us just chase the love of Jesus today. This is our why. Let's be honest. Practicing neighborliness is not always easy, especially in today's divided world that we live in. We live in a society that often emphasizes differences rather than similarities. It thrives on division rather than unity. It can be so tempting to retreat into our own comfort zones, surrounded only by those who share our beliefs and values. It can be especially hard when we make all of our friends at the same church, or maybe all of our friends are in the same organization we're a part of. And it can just be so easy to get into our bubble of people that we're familiar with ideas we're familiar with cultures we're familiar with. However, as followers of our faith, we are called to rise above these divisions, to go beyond our own biases and prejudices, to embrace the diversity of the human experience. We are called to be people of change, to bridge the gap for healing and hope in a world that is so desperately needing it. So, how do we practice neighborliness in our everyday lives? I think it starts with simple acts of kindness and compassion. It means reaching out to someone who may be feeling lonely or isolated. It means listening with an open heart and mind to those whose perceptions may differ from our own. It means standing up for justice and equality, even when it's not popular or convenient. But perhaps most importantly, practicing neighborliness means cultivating a spirit of humility and empathy, recognizing that we are all interconnected, that our faiths are intertwined, and that we have shared responsibility to care for one another and for our world. We have to remember that God made all of us in His image. There was no conditions. God's love and His image is not conditional, no matter what. Every human is so loved by Jesus, and so it's so important to come into humility and understand that just as we feel like we are having patience for people, those people are having patience for us as well. And so we really just come into this space of humility and love and just understanding Jesus made all of us with a purpose, and as equals, it's a lot easier to see someone else's side of things. Some steps we can take. Here at the organization, we encourage a few things. Diversifying our staff. This is so important to us. We want to make sure that everyone is seeing people that they relate to when they come into here. We're going to donate towards organizations fighting the cause. If you see something, say something. It might not be popular. It might not feel like you're going to gain a lot of glory in the moment, but it's definitely the right thing to do. We are going to approach in humility and ask questions out of love and with the heart to gain understanding, not to be ignorant. We are always growing our friend circles to support. This is because we want to understand other cultures. We want to understand other ethnicities and just come to a space where we know that ours isn't the most superior. We want to grow in knowledge. This is so important. We want to always be learning new ways to help and just gaining understanding of what the other parties are going through. I watched a video recently and it was called Creative for Connection, and it was so insightful. I found the information to be very interesting as the speaker, Sue Johnson, discusses the head start Christians have in connection skills. During this whole video, I felt like the points discussed could have not been more true. Being a Christian, we are naturally more open to being vulnerable, wanting to have connection with God and people, and are content being around other people. It's so interesting how the world skews this idea of love, connection, and partnership. There's a belief in our society today that being in connection is a trap or a prison you cannot escape. However, we know that this goes against everything the Bible says. Sue Johnson brings up crisp and clear points showing the importance of connection and how a bonding hormone helps us to actually tune into our partner and our friends better. God's will for us is that we have safe relationships, being able to come home to our family feeling that love and safety because we are created to love as Christ loved us. And with that comes a safe, peaceful love. These relationships must go beyond societal barriers and include minority groups in these godly connections. As we continue our journey together as a faith-based organization, let us commit ourselves to embodying the true spirit of neighborliness in all that we do. Let us become beacons of light in a world that can sometimes seem so dark and divided. And let us never forget the profound truth that we are all neighbors bound together by the ties of our common humanity. Thank you so much for listening, and may we go forth from this place inspired to practice neighborliness in our everyday lives.